All right. Let me see if we are streaming live yet. If not, we'll just do this fun in-between space of waiting and wondering, because that's how Facebook likes to keep us. Okay, we are live. I am so excited to be here live with my incredible, amazing client, Ms. Katie Watford, and I'm so excited to share your story. So I'm going to hand it over to you to share a little bit about the amazingness that is you and all that you do.
Oh, well, hello. My name is Katie Watford. I am a former celebrity fashion stylist, and now I am a style coach. I help female entrepreneurs brand their image to create a client magnetic wardrobe so that they can get dressed in 5 minutes and show up looking like the woman on their vision board.
First of all, does that not just sound amazing? And who couldn't live with, who could not use this amazing, incredible service that you have? And I absolutely love what you do and how you support your amazing clients. So we're going to get into it. And I'm going to start by saying Katie is amazing. She's like the most incredible person ever and someone with such an amazing personality. But one of the things that we all laugh about in the group is that this girl has wins, like wins on wins on wins. I love every bit of it. So I like to get started just by having you share some of the big epic wins you've had so far.
One that I wanted to highlight is I literally just booked a dream client, like exactly what you teach us in the program about getting your messaging straight to your dream client. And there cannot have been more of a perfect client than this woman that I just booked on every single level. And right after that, it's just been this triple effect of momentum of referrals and calls getting booked, all this month. It's just really in the zone where I can tell my business is in this growth phase. And I cannot wait to see actually how March ends, to be honest.
Oh, I love that. So incredible and amazing. So I always like to get started because I think it's really powerful to know that we've all been on our own journey that led us to where we are. So I like to ask, what was it that you were struggling with that kind of ultimately led you to working with me? Tell me a little bit about that story.
So last year in 2022, I realized I don't really have the right messaging. I knew I had a really good method, pretty well outlined and had a lot of those pieces in place. But then I was I don't know actually really how to attract my ideal client like I think I do. And so this messaging piece, I was thinking I needed a copywriter. And that's where my head was stuck. But it just didn't feel right. That didn't feel like what I was supposed to do. So I would say messaging it feels like it was pulling every strand of red hair out of my head, being how do you do this? And because I have an innovative way of working, it just didn't feel right to sit out there and do here's 5 ways to wear a trench coat. Cause who wants to really hear that?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. And yeah, let me say this again. Katie is an innovator. She has something so incredible. And when you came to me, I was like, your message is just not telling that story. It was not giving the full breadth of what you did. So my next question to you is, did you have any objections that almost kept you from working with me? And we've heard this incredible story. So I'd love to hear again here.
So I never had an objection to answer your question about working with Nas. Nas, you hooked me from hello. I remember all of a sudden I saw a messaging of yours in a Facebook post and it hooked me immediately. And that in itself, stalking you pretty much after that for a couple months. I didn't realize what that was doing in the process, how it's actually training me, how you train us. And that just kind of that light bulb just really went off just a couple days ago. I was oh, she taught us how to do this. But so I think the thing that was holding me back was never you. It was me, because I was I don't want to waste her time. I don't know if it's the right time, if I can really afford to work with her. And I didn't want to be hey, can I do a call? And it's not a right fit at the time. Yeah. And that was probably my biggest hesitation. So that was it. But once, and I don't want to jump ahead if I'm going to, but once you did your workshop, it just kind of in October, it pushed me a little bit more because I was definitely you were always at the top of my mind, just because when you were Netflix inspired sales system, and I worked in Hollywood for many years. So of course that really stood out to me, where I was what is that? and I was like, this is different. Like, this is marketing, not this sea of sameness that we hear everybody. So it was never you. It was always just me getting my own way, which is a big
We all have that, right? Well, and I hope I'm not overstepping and bringing this up, and stop me if otherwise, but you and I have a lot of these conversations when we're in our actual calls together with the group, that you share that you'll stop and say, oh my gosh, Naz, I just want to say thank you because the experiences you've had in the past. I don't know if you're open to sharing a little bit about, because I know you've worked with coaching in some coaching programs before, and not to badmouth that, just to explain, because I think a lot of people don't understand coaching and strategy. And I think when you experience it, it's a total game changer to see what the difference in that is.
Yeah, I'll be totally transparent with this and would love to tell this if this helps somebody find some peace and some answers to like reach out to Naz, because you definitely should reach out to Naz. So I had experienced like a mentorship program before. You could maybe call it a business coach. I'm not really, whatever the exact title was, but because I always had a unique point of view of like what I wanted to do, I wasn't trying to do it the norm way. I've had people kind of beat me down in my ideas. And so I'm very sensitive. I think anybody who's artistic, and I think people are just sensitive, but I'm very, very sensitive. And so it closed me off for a long time, where I had a lot of trust issues to let somebody in my world to really like just open up into my business. I mean, it's a very intimate process to work with a coach or strategist. Like, it's like jumping into like a relationship, right? And so I get that maybe had been like a subconscious thing that I wasn't quite thinking about, but I just didn't even have those reservations even when I saw you. Like, for whatever reason, that kind of just went away. It wasn't like, well, I hope she doesn't beat me up like he did. But I will say what I've loved about working with Naz is like Naz can handle just so many different ideas or professions or niches and just roll with it. And like, she supports whatever you're presenting to her, and she asks you so many amazing questions to help you really find the clarity that you need in your messaging. And that in itself of like not being, again, beaten down instead of just being supported was such a huge thing for me, because then it allowed me to be like, okay, like this, she's going to help me. And then it also gave me a lot more confidence in myself as well.
Yeah, no, and I love that. And I think an important factor that I am like, maybe it's my hill that I'm going to die on when we speak to, is this idea that that's what strategy is, right? Like, we don't need to really understand that how strategy works is we take what's naturally you. We don't want to like force you into a box or say, hey, no, you have to do it a certain way because that's the way marketing and sales is done. It's about really being able to understand what makes you innovative, what makes you powerful, what will allow you to show your personality. Even like we talked about this a couple of days ago, where I was like, why are you not going all in on in-person networking? Because this seems to be working for you. Like, strategy really is us identifying what's going to work best for someone as an individual and developing a plan of action around that, so that whatever you're doing in your marketing and your sales and your messaging feels second nature to you. It doesn't feel like you're trying to force yourself into a box that I need you to be in. So I think that's an important factor, and I appreciate you sharing that a little bit more too. So how would you say that we've helped solve your problem? What do you feel like is been like a really great opportunity for you?
Well, for one, I don't feel completely clueless, lost of like, what is my messaging? Like, I feel like, oh, I know I'm still growing in it and getting my groove with it, but I am from just within a very short amount of time. I definitely am like, even my intro of the get dressed in 5 minutes and show up as the woman on your vision board, that came through working with the genius Naz that she is. And so really helping to understand that, and like, who am I really talking to? Like, really understanding that. Like, I thought I knew my ideal client when I came into this. And then like, just like maybe a couple of weeks ago, I was like, oh, like she, these traits. And so, messaging, knowing that woman, and that just is such, again, a confidence booster, because then you're like, you obviously know who you're trying to reach, and that's a big part of doing this type of business.
I love that. And it's so true, because I think that, and messaging gets overlooked so often because we think all these other things are so important. Our lead generation, our marketing, our sales tools, and they all really are important, but it's a matter of when you have the messaging that gets amplified through everything you're doing. And so I tell people all the time, the reason I focus on literally looking at client acquisition as a holistic process, starting with messaging and positioning, then taking it through, how do we take that now and generate leads from it? How do we then take that and nurture people? How do we then take that to sales? Is because your message is intertwined into that entire process. And so I know even last week we were talking and you had gone through the sales modules and you're like, this just makes sense. Like all the pieces now fit together, but it all stems from messaging and positioning and knowing how to communicate that. So I love that you shared that, because I think that was the biggest game changer for myself as well. And I see that happen all the time. So what results are you the most excited about going forward with everything that you've been able to take from what we've learned?
I think everything that I've kind of already just like, I know who my ideal client is down to like such specific characteristic traits that I wasn't really as aware of before. And then obviously feeling confident in my messaging that it's continuing building and I'm getting even more in my groove with it. Obviously, like my momentum in my business is growing. Like, of course, that's like something I'm super excited about.
Yes.
I can't wait for these next 90 days, to be totally honest, because just like I just put this foundation in working with you, and now I'm ready to see that growth happen from it. And I will say more than anything, yes, I signed up with Nas to do messaging, but the most thing that I'm excited about is my sense of confidence within myself that I've grown into in these last couple months. And that has been invaluable. That and it's also like, you wouldn't necessarily expect that when you're signing up for like your messaging program, but I've totally grown into myself in such a way that I've been wanting to for such a long time, but I needed the right support. And when you have the right support, then, that for me is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah. And it's so true, because it's interesting. Not only is it and messaging does create that, it's almost like a direct effect of when we have our messaging, because number one, it gives you the validation that what you're saying is the right way. You have the way to be able to do that, but it's also creating the confidence in knowing how to say those things, how to communicate that, how to share that with the world. And I think a big thing that we really work on is once you develop that messaging, now you have the systems and the strategy to know exactly how to share that message, how to show up if you're on a podcast or in person, how to share what you do, and how to help people really move to the next step of each puzzle piece as well. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, now I'm booking a bunch of I've already booked 7 podcasts, like guest spots on podcasts this year thus far. And I've realized the few that I've already done this year, like, because everything just clicked from Nas's program, like really, like it all just kind of went zoom. And now I'm like, oh, this is what I should be saying on these podcasts, like versus just this. I'm a big personality, but now it's helped me understand specifically how to support everything. So that way it does drive traffic to me, which is the whole purpose of visibility of doing podcasts and things like that. So it's just like the biggest game changer that I could have ever asked for. And it far exceeded my expectation. And I definitely, I know this next question is coming up, so I'll wait till Nas answers it before I jump ahead.
Well, my next question is, if people were considering working with me, seeing what it's all about, why should people say yes?
Why should people say yes? Because Nas is a genius. That's why people should say yes. Nas is a genius. And Nas is a genius in many, many, many ways, but Nas is a genius specifically for me and whoever is on the receiving end listening to this. Like if you're an innovator, you're highly artistic, you need the right support. Like you were wired differently. It doesn't make us better than somebody else.
Nope.
It just means like the creative team, the strategy team behind people like us need that kind of brain that knows how to support it. And Nas is wired that way. And her system, regardless of if you're working as a sleep consultant to styling, like it works for like all of it. And that was the part I was so curious about going through all of her testimonials before I booked a call with her, was like, how does this work for every different type of like genre over here, or different type of like profession over here, and it does. So
it does. Yeah. And I'll say to that, because that was just, you always warm my heart with these incredible words. Yeah. But that's the power, right? Is like, I am so blessed with the most incredible of clients who are visionaries and geniuses in their own right. But it's like taking that genius and developing the strategy around it to bring it to life and let it come together. And then again, like you said, it works across all industries. We work with so many people, all the way down to, I have a client who does soccer training, and it's worked for them. And the reason is because we get down to the foundational core reasons why people buy in the first place, all the way from the psychology to the messaging to all of those things. And we put them all together so that it's like one perfect little walkway that people go on. So thank you so much for sharing that with me and with everyone here as well. So if you are listening in, 2 calls to action for you. Number 1, if you'd like to learn more about how you can work with myself and how the EasyYes method works, I would love to invite you to book a call or to check out our mini series at easyes.com, or excuse me, easyesleads.com, or you can book a call at easyesleads.com/call, or send me a message. I'm more than happy to support you that way. But Katie, I'm going to throw it back over to you. Where can people learn more about your incredible and amazing way that you work with your clients? Where can they find more about that?
you can go to my website at katiewatford.com, but I'm very active on social media, on Facebook and Instagram. So you can easily just send me a DM and say, I would love to book a style assessment call. And that's where we'll go over your styling goals and needs. And then I can show you how the style identity method can help you get dressed in 5 minutes and show you looking to help you look like the woman on your vision board.
Oh, so good. Yes. And I'll have Katie come back in and share links to where you can find her as well. But thank you so, so much for being here with me today and sharing your story. It means a lot.
It's my honor.
Thank you.